invade our space, and we fall back.
Wife's gonna shit.
This is not myth.
Hey everybody, welcome to TV Time with Manda. I'm Mama Atheist, and tonight we have two guests. We have our very special guest, Mr. Bear. Mr. Bear, you want to say hi to everybody?
Good evening, everybody. Hi.
You want to tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, sure. I do response videos to silly religious stuff on YouTube. You can see me at Mr. Bear Atheist on YouTube, and I just chuck a bit of humor in there as well and make fun of people. Thanks for having me on.
No, thank you.
This is cool. This is cool.
Thanks for coming. And my other special guest is my son, Angel.
Can I say fuck on this show?
A little fucking late now, isn't it?
Okay.
No. Yes.
Yeah. That's, yes. He has a mouth just like me. Everybody knows that. That's fine.
It's not my fault.
No, it's my fault. I admit to that fully. So tonight we're going to talk about the Mandalorian. There's been one season so far, and it was pretty cool. Everybody knows we're a big Star Wars family here. What did you think? Actually, what I usually do is we each give, in our own words, a description of the show. So,
Yep.
Why don't you start, Mr. Bear?
Yeah.
What would
Okay.
the description of the Mandalorian be?
Yeah. Okay. Well, The Mandalorian is a continuation from, if anyone has seen Return of the Jedi, which is probably many, many, many people out there, this is a continuation following on from, I think it's about 5 years after that. Would that be about right? You guys are hardcore. I think it's about 5 years thereabouts. And it's just a continuation of that after that and what happens in between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. And it's an interesting story about a bounty hunter who has to who decides to care for a young version of Yoda, and his, I suppose, his challenges in keeping this little character alive. It's a bit of action. It's in the tradition of Star Wars. It's a little bit different. It's probably more Western as well. And it's really engaging. It's quite good, even for non-Star Wars fans, I would say. Yeah, I suppose that will be the main core of it. Yeah, what do you guys think?
Yeah, it was a very good description. Do you have a description? You want to, in your own words, of the Mandalorian?
It's pretty good.
Well, not like a description, like how Bear just talked about it.
I mean, yeah, that's a pretty good sum up. I think it's more like I think it's honestly more specifically a continuation of what we see at the very end of Star Wars Rebels. What happens to all the Mandalorians? Because they have a lot of references to that.
Yeah, not everybody knows the Rebels.
Well, I'm just saying that was the last chronological big part that they played.
Jared, do you know what Rebels is? The cartoon?
I've heard of Rebels. I'm watching a bit of I'm watching Clone Wars now. I'm up to season 2 in Clone Wars because my son really wanted to see Clone Wars, and I never did because I didn't like the animation style, and I know that's really shallow of me. But I couldn't get into the animation of season 1. Yeah. But I'm into season 2 and really enjoying that. But I've heard of Rebels. I haven't got there yet.
Yeah, it's, to me, it was a little bit more child friendly than Clone Wars. I don't know. I've seen a few episodes. He keeps trying to get me into it, but there is a lot of Mandalorian lore in it, a few Mandalorian storylines.
Cool. Yeah.
Captain Rex is in it. So He's trying to Ahsoka. Yeah, so eventually,
Oh,
I
cool.
guess
Yeah.
I'll watch it. Yeah, but it was a little bit for me too Disney-esque when it first came out. So I guess for me, Mandalorian is Baby Yoda. This sums up the Mandalorian for me. I mean,
Baby Yoda.
what else is there? Is oh, and Pedro Pascal, who's
Yeah.
the
Woo!
main character. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you, Barrett? Did you watch Game of Thrones?
I saw season 1 and really liked season 1. I watched half of season 2, and then what happened was everyone spoiled it for me. So whenever I went to work, everyone was talking about the next episode, and it really just pissed me off. So I just ignored Game of Thrones. Mrs. Beard was really into Game of Thrones. She loved Game of Thrones, but during season 2, 3, it was absolutely spoiled for me, and and it annoyed me. So it just annoyed me. I just turned off. What about you guys?
So you never got up to Pedro Pascal's character then?
No, when did he show up?
No, that's actually where I think I saw him for the first time. He plays. If anybody in chat can, dogs are here. If anybody can chat can remember his name, I can't for the life of me remember his name in the show. But anyway, he's amazing in it. And he fights the mountain. It's pretty cool.
Okay, I had no idea he was in that. There you go.
Yeah. He plays a prince. A very, very cool, very, very bi prince with huge sexual habits. So big appetite.
Yeah.
So, let's say hi to some people in chat. Lissy, my sister, my love. How you doing? Sam, Randy, Jeff, Julie, Math Big, obviously, who was doing the show, and Sal, Jasa, everybody else. And if I missed you, sorry. Just hi, thank you for coming. Oh, Jay, fuck you, Jay. I love you.
Hey guys.
So, do you guys have a favorite episode at all? Start with Bear. Do you have a favorite episode?
My favorite episode. I'm just having a bit of a look. Because I'm just having a refresh because I watched it a few months ago. I probably really enjoyed. I'm just having a bit of a look at that. There was. I actually didn't mind episode 2, The Child, when with his battle with the Jawas.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that, and then you see Baby Yoda's first use of the Force and everything like that. I thought that was a really well structured story, and it had a lot of traditional Star Wars elements to it, which I really enjoyed. And obviously the last episode as well. I thought it ended really well with IG-11, the droid sacrificing himself and coming around, and there were some really powerful moments in that, and the funniest part I thought was when I think it was Grief, he said to Yoda, why don't you just wave your hand and use the Force? And Yoda's response is pretty much just to wave his hand like a little child. I thought that was really great. But I didn't mind the child episode 2. Episode 1 had its own uniqueness to it, introducing everything, but I liked episode 2. There was some really funny little moments, and the structure of that was quite good. I came around to episode 6, The Prisoner, with Bill Burr. That was my least favorite, but I came around to it after a while. I thought that wasn't too bad. It felt like a little bit of a filler episode. I'm not sure how you guys felt about that one.
Yeah, I feel that way. It kind of filled the space instead of really adding to the story.
I think it was more of a setup for those characters, because at least Bill Burr is supposed to come back in season 2. So I think it was an introduction.
Yeah,
honestly,
that was the one to, like, when I found out the cast, I was like, oh, Bill Burr, like,
yeah.
It just, he wasn't terrible, but I'm not a big Bill Burr fan, and to put him in drama, especially Star Wars, it just
It felt a bit shoehorned for me. It was like it was a bit of an in joke, too much of an in joke for me.
Yeah.
And that I think that took me out of the episode. But otherwise, I came back to it because I like that you thought that he killed them off, and obviously when I can't remember the character's name, he got crushed between the doors. You thought, oh, that was a really good ending for him. Then the twist was that they're still alive. I like that twist to it. What about you guys? What's your favorite?
What's your favorite episode, honey?
I think honestly, the one where they had to fight the ATST in the village.
Yeah.
Because it gave a lot different of a perspective kind of thing. Because I think one of the biggest things that we remember from it in the movies is probably the Ewoks fighting the ATSTs on Endor. And from there, they don't really seem as menacing. You know, you have a bunch of little teddy bears with rocks and twigs and taking on these big old things it's easy. But in the show, you have an entire village having to work together just to take down a single one of those.
Mm-hmm.
So, and even fighting up against a Mandalorian, a rebel shock trooper, it really just makes them seem a lot scarier than they seem in other places. So.
Yeah. And
and it was very well made as well. That episode, I thought it was very well depicted, this battle. And there were a lot of layers in that episode as well with Mando's relationship there. With the mother. Yeah, there was a potential peaceful life there, but he just realized he couldn't be that way as well. And then that led into the battle, and he realized that he was going to be a constant threat in their lives. So I like those. I like the many, many layers in each episode. They're really well done. I got a big confession to make about The Mandalorian. How do you, and I'll ask you guys, when you see something Star Wars, so with the recent 9th film that came out, and with The Mandalorian, it's been a good year for Star Wars. Do you guys try and stay away from spoilers, or do you try to find out as much as you can before you see things?
You gotta stay away from the spoilers. What do you do?
I mean, if I just see it, I'm like, okay, I'll accept it.
But
I don't actively search for them. No.
Okay. See, I deliberately stayed away, but I obviously got exposed to Baby Yoda online. Okay. So in my mind, this is what happened in my mind. I saw Baby Yoda, and I assumed it was Yoda, the Yoda we know.
Mm-hmm.
So in my mind, I'm thinking, so if he's Baby Yoda, the Mandalorian must be set 900 odd years in the past.
Yeah.
It sounds really stupid now, but I started watching The Mandalorian going, okay, this is way, 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 way in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought it was the actual Yoda, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So as I'm watching it, I'm thinking, okay, so maybe there was something else that happened in the past that mirrored the future, very much like the Republic. And it sounds really weird now, but as we're watching it, I'm thinking, oh, this is really cool. They're going way back in the past. It wasn't until episode 3, I think I realized, oh, hang on, there's stormtroopers, and it doesn't make sense. It was a really weird mindset, but I'm thinking, okay, this is cool. It's right in the past. But and then I found out it wasn't, obviously. But yeah, that's the way I approached The Mandalorian. I approached it as something that was set 900 years in the past.
Yeah, with like a loop of technology almost, because they go back around. Yeah, no, I didn't think about it that way. My problem was I tried when the movie came out, because we watched for each episode of The Mandalorian, we watched it the day it came out, didn't we? Yeah, like. I'm pretty sure there were a couple days where you woke me up at 3 a.m. to watch it.
Oh, no. I was, when the episode 8 of the Clone Wars came out today, I watched it at like 4 a.m. So I watched that at like the second it got posted.
That's rude as fuck, yo.
That's hardcore. That's hardcore.
Yeah, because we're on the East Coast. We have to wait the 3 hours till the West, because it comes out at midnight on the Pacific time.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to play with you right now. So it comes out at 3 a.m. our time, and yeah, That's how he actually made me set an alarm one time before Six Pack a couple weeks ago, and he got so pissed at me because I didn't actually wake him up for it. So sorry.
Damn. No,
Yeah,
that's hardcore. Yeah.
at least I didn't watch it without you, though.
Well, at least I don't take 2 weeks to get to something.
Anyway,
What was really
no,
cool? Well, I introduced my kids to Star Wars in January this year. So we started the way they were released in the cinemas. So we started with obviously episode 4, 5, 6, and then so they got the story. Then we went on to 1, 2, 3. They were really quite underwhelmed with episode 1, as obviously most of the world has been. They didn't mind 2 and 3 though. They actually didn't mind them too much. And then we went straight away and watched Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and then the last one in the cinemas. And so they watched the whole lot in about 6 days. And my eldest is 14. He's really into Star Wars now with Battlefront 2 and so on. Yeah.
Are you deprived your eldest of Star Wars for 14 years then?
What's
He hasn't seen it at all?
Sorry.
So your eldest hadn't seen Star Wars his whole life?
No. He'd seen me watch it, but he'd walk in and say, "Oh, Star Wars," and walk away.
Oh, no.
Because you need to invest in the characters. You need the time to invest. And so he finally said this year, "Okay, I'm going to sit down and watch these movies. Cool, I'll watch them with you." And that was it. Yeah, that did it. And he's a massive fan. So we all watched The Mandalorian together. Obviously, we just binged The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And I love how this is made as well. Have you seen behind the scenes? And
yeah, we've seen some of it. And
At least.
we what's really cool is that it's not only Favreau, but it's Dave Filoni who is the executive producer, and Filoni's the one who does Clone Wars.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So that's pretty cool, and I didn't realize that until this season. I thought he was just like popping in. I didn't realize he was actually.
This season, there's one season.
No, I mean like the upcoming season, because I made a big deal about the fact that Filoni was.
I told you while we were watching the episodes, and I pointed out how at the end of the episode it says directed by Dave Filoni, and I mentioned, hey, that's the guy that did like.
Yeah, but I know, but I didn't realize that he actually produced the show. I don't fucking listen to you, okay? Fine. You say the same shit over and over again.
I shouldn't have to.
You know what? Now you know how it feels.
No, I listen to you.
You just ignore
like
me?
3 hours to do it.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So, it's an Angel. His first experience with Star Wars were the prequels, and I did it totally wrong. Obviously, I don't think I did it. Yeah, so I can't play with you right now, dog. She doesn't like the fact that I'm giving him attention right now, not her. Yeah. So that was my mistake. Is showing him the prequels first, and then the originals. So he actually really loved the prequels growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Until he got older and understood that the originals were better. But
controversial. So can I ask Angel, what was your experience then with Star Wars watching it that way? Is it a different experience, or it probably was no different to you? But
I feel like watching the Clone Wars, specifically the Clone Wars movie, it was my first big like I'd watch that like all day long. Yeah. And then I feel like I just started off from there. I've probably watched episode 1 the least. Definitely episode 3 the most.
Yeah.
And I still appreciate all of the other stuff in it, but
yeah.
When I rewatched episode 3, it was a lot better. after
Mhm.
the years that have passed. I actually didn't mind Sith. There was some fair bit of layering going on there that I didn't notice the first time because I was too preoccupied with not liking the movies. Whereas this time I just watched it for what it was, and I actually appreciated a lot of the build up to Anakin's turning a lot better.
Mhm.
It felt a bit forced. Pardon the pun. It felt a bit forced when it came out in the cinema. That I felt, here we go. This is the one where they're really going to force him to turn
Yeah.
to the dark side, and I thought it was too predictable. But that had to be part of the story.
Mhm.
So watching it now, I appreciated it a lot more than I did watching it the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? People complain about Hayden Christensen's his acting in the last two, and we found this YouTube video that shows him and George working side by side throughout both movies, 2 and 3, and Lucas's reasoning behind why he acted the way he did, and it actually makes sense. And I think Hayden Christensen did a really good job, and his character, the way he acted. I mean, yeah, there are a few cringy moments like that fucking sand thing. Oh my god, what does he say?
I hate sand. It's coarse and rough and gets everywhere. Also,
See, and that's not his fault. He's let down by the script.
Yeah. But in terms of
woefully let down. Yeah.
It's purposeful, and if you go back and I wish I knew. Just look up, look on YouTube. There's a video that shows Lucas and Christensen together, and it'll make sense. It'll be better.
Okay.
I wanted to mention, I think honestly, episode 3 has a lot more relation to the sequel trilogy than the original trilogy even does. So the entire sequel trilogy, at least to me, is kind of like building up to Palpatine coming back. And everyone thinks, oh, hey, that's crazy. Everyone thinks that's a big old surprise. But Palpatine just makes it so incredibly obvious talking to Anakin in episode 3 about it. Like the entire Darth Plagueis the Wise speech talking about how not only could he save people who are dying, but also kind of just learn the ways of almost like resurrection. He almost just points it out like straight up like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the whole time we should have known that he was going to come back.
I'm glad you mentioned that character because I felt he should have been in Return of Skywalker. In place of Palpatine, I think they should have had him as because it would have been a good tie-in, probably a better tie-in in some ways. I felt Palpatine was just one of the big failings in episode 9. Your
I have a few, to say the least.
I feel like if we were to put Plagueis into episode 9, I think solely because of the fact that he's only really mentioned in like episode 3 and stuff like that. He's not actually in any of the movies. He's not in any of the TV shows. I feel like nobody would really get the correlation.
Yeah, it's a good point. That's a good point.
Fans, like the people that just watch the movies.
Maybe if they'd mentioned him in Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, maybe if they'd made some mentions there, it would have built up to it. Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just didn't like the Rey Palpatine situation. I didn't like that at all.
No, and I hate that they keep coming out with stuff afterwards to, like the fact that Rey's grandfather as Palpatine was actually a clone, and like they keep changing shit, and I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like they're trying to really again shoehorn things to.
I was gonna say they're shoehorning it in. No,
yeah. I mean, it was still a fantastic.
We're having fun. That's the point of the show.
All right. I wanna mention one thing. I believe that the child baby Yoda, I think that legitimately is a son of Yoda, and everyone's gonna ask like, who the mother is. We all forget about Yaddle, the other female. It's canon. It's canon. She was in episode 1. She was in the movie.
I've seen the screenshot. She's there. Yeah.
At no point in time do they specify if they're brother or sister. It's just female. And then you can mention the thing about, no relations in the Jedi Order. But there was exceptions for endangered species, like Kiadi Mundi, for example. So in conclusion, they fucked. So I think
they got it all.
Around because you think of them as brother and sister, even though if they're
that's kind of racist, not gonna lie. Just because they look alike, they gotta be related. They can't just be two of the same. I know,
but I'm just saying that's what was assumed. I don't know. What do you think, Bear? Do you think they're brother and sister, or do you think that they were fucking?
Okay, well here's the thing. I didn't even notice that until my kids pointed that out in Phantom Menace that other Yoda-like creature was there in the council, because I did not see it at all in not on the theater screen, not on the DVD. I had no idea it existed until probably 3 months ago. So these are interesting theories. My take is that it's just simply another species of Yoda's species. I don't know. I wouldn't. I just assumed they weren't related in any way.
Yeah,
but it's a good theory.
I feel like
a good theory.
We don't know for sure if the entire species itself is force sensitive. So what I'm thinking is, obviously, children of force sensitive people are going to be force sensitive, just like how in the Clone Wars we can see the little force sensitive babies, playing with little rubber balls and shit. I think the fact that Baby Yoda can use the Force at a very technically young age.
He's 50.
But
it's showing that he's the potential offspring. Yeah, I see where you're going, and it'll be pretty good. It may be that may be a predictable outcome, though. Maybe, I don't know whether they want to go that way as the creators, or introduce the species in a whole new way, because they're not named yet, are they? They're not even named, these species.
No, we don't have a name for it.
Yeah, Lucas specifically made sure that the entire deal with Yoda would be kept a big old secret until he felt like the time was right to actually start talking about it. I don't know when the hell he thought that time would be.
He already fucked off anyway.
It kind of something that he was just continuously like, I'll do it later, and I'll get around to it. But then he just like left the room and left the shit in there. He's like, I'll figure it out himself. Hired a baby.
He cashed the check and walked away.
Exactly. Now,
hey, what do you guys think about the scene with the stormtroopers talking with each other?
That is one of my favorite part of the whole season. It is the best part.
That was genius. That was brilliant.
It's very red versus blue. If you've ever seen, you were the one who pointed that out to me, and I didn't think about it. Have you, Bear? Have you ever seen Red versus Blue?
No, what's that?
Halo, right?
Yeah.
The video Halo.
Yeah.
You explain it. Explain Red versus Blue.
It was pretty much. It's got like 16 or 17 seasons in the run now. The show is pretty much as old as I am. It starts. It's basically a comedy show about just a bunch of like a red team and a blue team and a cannon, whatever the word is. It's just supposed to be funny. They just film it in game with stuff like that. But then eventually, it gets more and more.
It's based on.
I haven't watched it in like a year.
But the video game Halo, except they're all fucking idiots. And they talk. That's pretty much the whole show is just them being dumbasses, except they're really, really expletive heavy, and they're always crazy robots, and they're killing each other all the time. And it's capture the flag, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We got to
like the first
Is it animated or real
Yeah,
life?
yeah, it's animated.
Well, okay.
Animated.
Well,
Okay.
it is.
Yeah.
Well, it's computer animated, but no, Barry, you would totally like it. Check it out. Red versus
Okay.
Blue.
I will. I shall.
It's a what's the name of the Rooster Teeth is the name of the people that make it. It is hilarious.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
he started watching it way before I realized what it was, and he was probably too young for it. So I would walk in the room, and it would just, yeah.
But don't worry. My kids watched Deadpool the other day, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Oops.
He came out and said, "Dad, don't be mad." I said, "Why? What have you done?" He goes, "I watched Deadpool." It's fine. It's fine. It's okay. You know, it's more when they're 8, 9 years old. You don't watch Deadpool when you're 9 years old, but they're a bit older now. It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah. The dam bursts at some point, and it's just like,
Yeah.
there's nothing, you can't put that shit back. So
The thing is, they're at home all day, every day now, and you know, they're going to watch movies they shouldn't be watching. I don't care. I used to watch Charles Bronson and Eastwood and Death Wish, and I turned out fine. Right.
Yeah, Death Wish, nice.
No, but I love that. Going back to that scene, I love that scene with the stormtroopers. That was just, I just laughed through the whole thing. It was just genius. You know, the bad shooting, they're hitting. And what about the hitting poor Yoda? They're hitting him in the back. Don't do that.
It's so sad, but it's kind of funny too at the same time. And then they end up really very dead.
It's really black humor. I liked it. I like black humor.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah.
Angel's favorite. We're going back to the kids watching the movie. Angel's favorite is Pulp Fiction. So.
Great. Oh God. I don't know how many times I've watched that movie.
Yeah.
We used to have we had really cheap Tuesdays here at the cinema. It was only $5 to go to the movies, and me and my friend went every Tuesday and watched these movies. And one week was Terminal Velocity with Charlie Sheen, and the next week was Pulp Fiction. And my God, the difference between those two films was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I love Pulp Fiction.
It's right there. Hold on a sec. Okay.
Oh,
you got it?
And I've got another little secret thing to share with you.
Hold on. That's Angel's wallet, by the way. In Pulp Fiction.
I dropped that in Miss Anderson's class one day because I was wearing my sweatpants. That things fall out of very easily.
Yeah.
And she notices, she picks it up, raises it in the air, crosses it. He's like, "Angel, is this your wallet?" I'm like, hell yeah. Greatest teacher I have.
It's got your DNA all over it.
Yes, it's DNA all over it. It's just absolutely my son. So what were you saying, Bear?
I was just going to share with you. We almost named our first son Xander.
Yes, that's right. I forgot. But that's one of the ways we became friends to begin with, because you were like,
yeah.
Well, where did you get his name from?
Yeah,
and I was like,
I guess, yeah.
Who don't know, Angel's name is actually Angelus, which is from Buffy. So
yeah. An amazing show too. Amazing show.
Yeah, and Bear and I are big Joss Whedon fans, so that's one of the things that we bonded over. So cool.
Yep, got all the box sets, got all the Buffys, all the Angels.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, and a Dollhouse and Firefly and all of it.
Dollhouse is great. Yeah,
love Dollhouse. I really think it's Rooster Teeth was right. One of my favorites. So who is your let's go with favorite character, starting with you, Bear. Who's your favorite character in The Mandalorian? that isn't Mando. That isn't Mando.
That isn't Mando. I think Baby Yoda takes it, right? I mean, it's just phenomenal. This is a little. I think he's like a $3 million puppet. He's a real puppet, unless he's walking, right?
I think they might have had like multiple of those. I think it might be 3 million for the
For the total?
few that they had.
Okay.
Right. Different, all sort of different versions of him. Yeah, I thought he was just phenomenal and just just so emotive and just a brilliant character.
Yeah.
How could you not love it? And probably, I probably liked, I liked Gina Carano's character as well. I thought she was great. And I loved IG-11 as well.
Yeah, that really upset me. Like, especially, I loved Taika Waititi, the guy who plays him, and who was Australian, by the way. He did.
No, he's Kiwi. He's Kiwi.
What?
He's Kiwi. He's from New Zealand.
Oh God, I'm so sorry. Okay, my bad. And now
I'm
all
choosing to be offended. Yes.
family fucking hates me now.
No, it's okay.
Oh, I feel terrible.
No,
Anyway.
it's okay. No.
Thanks for correcting me. I love him, and when they kill him up right away, that was, and I know he's resurrected near the end, but yeah, I was really looking forward to having him on the show, and then he gets shot in the head in the first fucking episode. So.
No, I also love I've Spoken. What's his name?
Well,
yeah.
Nick Nolte.
Yeah.
That's the name. That's
voiced by Nick Nolte, but
I can't remember it. Do you remember his name?
He's captured by another actor, but he's a great
If
character.
anybody can think of it, and let us know in the chat who it is. He was pretty cool. I didn't like the. No, Giancarlo Esposito, who is just phenomenal. Again, another one though that you wait the whole season to see.
He
just comes in like a serious badass though.
Yeah, Moff Gideon. Yeah,
that's what it is. Gideon. Yeah.
Gideon. He's great. And from Breaking Bad, other people may recognize him from Breaking Bad.
Yeah. He played what's his face? I can't remember his name in Breaking Bad, but you know who he is.
Pretty sure we're going to see some of those Mandalorian characters in the end of the Clone Wars, because we have one last 4-episode arc in the Clone Wars, and that's it for the entire show, and that's the Siege of Mandalore that they actually mention in the like the end of the Mandalorian. And not only that, but so far the Clone Wars has also brought in other characters. Like they brought in Urso Wren, the mother of the main Mandalorian character in Rebels. They put her in the show, so I feel like obviously they wouldn't shy away from maybe even possibly putting like a little Mandalorian kid, the kid version of them in there, like maybe Moff Gideon. I think that'd be cool to see.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
One of the interesting things about the Mandalorian, the Mandalorians themselves, is that they're not actually from Mandalore anymore, right?
It originally was like that, but it's kind of like two ways. You can either be kind of almost like adopted into the system, or you can just be born there and then you don't even have to be a warrior to be a Mandalorian. You can just technically be one of the people that live there, like under Satine's rule there. But a lot of them are just used to fighting. It's pretty much their entire culture. They even started off, they were pretty much just Jedi killers, is like one of their long time ago ways. So, the Great Mandalorian War was what it was. So
what about the Siege of Mandalore?
The new one coming up?
Originally, the first one.
I mean,
like, was that was Clone Wars, right?
Yeah, the one that's like next.
Okay, yeah. Then we haven't gotten to it.
Yeah, that's like next Friday it'll start, and then we have the next month straight. Is that?
Yeah. Sorry, we have tangent into different shows. And what is the tagline for the Mandalorians?
Even tagline.
What do they say? What is he always saying?
Oh, that fucking dumbass. This is the way. Shit.
Yes. How did that done that? What do you
Don't
think?
have a
Barry?
high opinion of their saying.
It's just okay.
I like
When
it.
each and every single
This is the
person,
way.
I think then it's just like, all
Yeah,
right,
I
we
guess
get it.
that's true. That's true. But I mean,
also liked Emily Swallow as the armorer. Who's,
yeah, I was literally just thinking that.
yeah,
Do you
I
want
think
can you
she played
talk
that
about
very
that
well as
scene,
well.
Bear?
Sorry.
Can you tell us about that scene when what she does and who she is?
Oh, sure. Yeah, she basically forges armor for the Mandalorians, and it's out of Beskar steel, I think it's called, and
Yeah,
so they
steel.
trade in this excellent high quality steel that protects the Mandalorians, and she's basically the one who shapes the armor, but she's also like this philosopher type character, isn't she? She's sort of like the one
Mhm.
who cares for the Mandalorians, if you want to put it that way.
Mhm.
She's almost like a safe haven.
Yeah, I mean, she is in this tiny little. It's not really a cave because it's a building,
It's
but
a place that went through the sewers.
yeah,
I guess.
yeah,
Secret enclave type place.
yeah. And
What about Mos Eisley? That's great.
oh
The
yeah, I
return.
know, right?
Yeah.
Having Will Eisley on in there in the show.
Oh yeah, they're almost pretty much in like what was it, the Gunslinger? Was that the episode? The
I
one
think
that was like
so.
nobody.
Yes, when he hires Mando. Yeah, I think it was the Gunslinger episode 5. I think it is. Yeah.
And Tina almost
Toro he meets Toro Calican. Yeah,
Mhm.
who's trying to be a bounty hunter.
Yeah, trying to.
And that kind of mirrored A New Hope. You know, it's that mirror storytelling that fans really love.
Yeah, they love doing that in Star Wars. Period. Because they go ahead.
Okay. I was gonna say, now that you mentioned the New Hope, the entire or at least what I think, the Mando's weapon, the fact that it can like incinerate Jawas, we saw that. I think that's an entire callback to the line we see in was it the fifth movie where you have all the bounty hunters up on Vader's ship, and he's explaining, hey, we're gonna go get Luke Skywalker, but he specifically tells Boba Fett no incinerations because that's right. The Empire incinerating weapons. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah, good pickup. Yeah. Empire's my favorite, so I've seen that more than any other film. And you're quite right. Yeah, he does say that. Yeah, that's good pick. That's a good pickup. Cool. Very cool. Yeah. Hardcore.
Star Wars.
Hardcore.
It means you remember stuff well, Angel.
Yeah. You're right.
Right.
Pretty sure Dengar is actually in the sequels, but like as a more minor character. He looks all fucked up and shit. His name's changed. So kind of like Dengar, but
maybe it's just the same species.
He's still a human.
Yeah. Okay.
He's all old, white, and wrinkly, and like all of his body parts are like mechanical now.
Okay.
Similar armor, similar name. Still bounty hunter. Just saying.
One of the things I found interesting was that what is involved in the Mandalorian's armor, and I actually took notes. It was so intricate. So first is the sniper rifle. Yeah, you can do it. It's called an Ambin sniper rifle, and it's considered like the Swiss Army knife of all of Star Wars, pretty much.
Cool.
It's that long gun that has like it almost looks like a magnet at the end. Yeah.
That the look of that weapon is also a callback to not the holiday special, but they had one animated version, like an older one that had Boba Fett in it, and in that movie or whatever the hell it was, he had a long rifle that looked like exactly like that, specifically the things on the end.
Yeah.
So that There's a callback to that.
Yeah, the holiday special.
Yeah.
Where he was introduced, wasn't he? Boba Fett was.
I have no fucking clue.
Jassa would know because Jassa's seen the holiday special like 100 times.
I've never watched it.
Yeah.
I just couldn't
it's
find
an abomination. Abomination.
Is it? What about Caravan of Hope? Was that one of the specials as well with the Ewoks?
I don't know. I've seen that's the only one I've seen, like the Ewok movie. Apparently, there's two. Yeah, I didn't even know there was two, but never seen the holiday special either.
See the one where Princess Leia sings?
Yeah, that's the holiday special.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah. So okay. It has an extended two-pronged black muzzle device. It's a single-shot breech-loading blaster rifle. The scope has digital capabilities, and it has the scope even has a parabolic microphone. One of the coolest parts of the Mandalorians are weaponry is the whistling birds, though. Do you remember what those were, Bear?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Do you want to explain them?
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to I do remember them, but I'm trying to remember the
little rocket things.
Yeah, that shoot out. Yeah.
Yeah. If you haven't seen this, it's really hard to explain if you haven't seen the show. But they're homing too. What it does actually, Angel, go ahead. You explain it. you can do far better than either of us.
It was Boba Fett had the same thing. This was just more of a smaller version. Boba Fett's was not homing, but the Mandalorian's is, but Mandalorian's is also a lot smaller. It was essentially if you have a large group right in front of you, you can just spray them all down. Sometimes it won't even kill them. Get back, but it's just whatever to get out of a bad situation where you have a lot of people in.
That's right. It reminded me of the scene in the original Iron Man.
Iron Man?
The Iron Man film with Robert Downey Jr. When he flies into Afghanistan and there's all these people, all these soldiers holding people, around the neck, and he just shoots out those homing missiles. It was kind of similar to that.
Yeah.
A little bit similar to that, but I thought his whole weaponry was just genius as well. The flamethrower, those little things, the way he utilized his weaponry was really quite well done as well. Yeah,
I think it's really cool that he's got the flamethrower in the arm though, and it's tiny. When you think of an actual flamethrower, he's just got it.
Where's all the fuel? Yeah, but no, it looks cool.
Their arms are called van braces, and the Mandalorian's armor is just stacked with, in fact, in the van brace is a repulsor, a grappling line, paralyzing darts, a shield emitter, blaster barrels, the flamethrower, and the whistling birds. All of that in just the one van brace. Yep.
I want one.
That was just one. That was the homework that I did.
I
want one for Christmas.
Yeah.
One? Oh yeah. The first
of course.
The personal shield thing. That was kind of similar to what Death Watch had. If you remember, they were the guys that literally these guys right here that pick them up. It was a small, like kind of plasma shield generator or something like that. That was just, it was kind of small, but it still worked. I guess we probably picked that up from them.
I'll ask a question. What do you think his helmet smells like?
Awful. God, we've actually had this discussion. Oh my God.
Pure sweat.
It must be rancid in there.
Yeah, head cheese. I don't fucking know. It's
Also, speaking of the helmets, I think they never take their helmet thing off. I don't like that. I think that's dumb as fuck. Because they've had no problem doing it before. All the Death Watch Mandalorians taking their helmets off all the time. You can see Even Django Fett, taking his helmet off and
Well,
stuff.
you're supposed to garner that because he's not a respectable Mandalorian. Like, what we know.
Everybody respected Django.
But I mean, in terms of like morals, I guess.
Even well,
I think they did that because it's a way of showing his integrity.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think it's one of those things that he's a person of his word.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to show that really is to show his dedication to that helmet. I mean, I know it's really cliche, but I think that's what they were trying to get across really simply, just to say, look, you can trust this guy because he's never taken the helmet off. And as you can see through each episode, he doesn't. So I think maybe it was a narrative choice rather than a canon choice. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really, you're right though. That's the thought that you have. Like, it's supposed to be such a respectful thing, but all you can think is, man, that must fucking reek. Like, for real.
It must stink.
And like, he gets
Can you imagine he's in the shower with the helmet on, he goes to bed with the helmet on. I mean,
see, that's what I thought. I didn't realize that it's just they can't do it in front of other people.
yeah,
Like, he can take it off on his
It
own.
was never the movie.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
that's right.
Sleeping in it. How do you eat?
Yeah.
He almost takes it off with that chick in the village, and like she's just about to do it, but no.
And I think that's why I like that episode as well. It had so much in that episode. It was Sanctuary episode 4,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it was. I'm just having a look at the actor now. It was Julia Jones. She played the widowed farmer on Sorgan. She provides lodging for the Mandalorian, and she, in such a short amount of time, we trusted her as well. We could see that he. I think what made it sad was that he and melancholy was that we could see that he could have very easily had a life there in peace, and I think that added that layer of, he was a person of his word. He had to protect this child. Again, yeah, and so there was a fair bit of melancholy there. He could have had a very good life, but his dedication to his cause.
Yeah. But then, like I said, one of the great tragedies of this show is that you only get to see Pedro Pascal's face that one time, and it's all gross and sweaty and stuff. So long.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that scene real quick, Bear?
Yeah, it's during that standoff with all the stormtroopers and Gideon, up from memory now, and basically he's injured and he's left alone with IG-11, the droid, who basically says, "Look, I need to take this helmet off now. No one else is here." And like IG-11 says, "I'm not a person, so you can take it off." So he takes it off to get medical treatment, and like you say, he's laying there and he's got hair matted to his scalp. He's sweaty, dirty, injured. It's not the best look. So they didn't really want to make it look flattering at all.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, which goes to show his dedication to the role, because essentially that's the only time you see him.
Right?
And it's hinted through the series. You can see him as a child. Flashbacks. He has the dark hair, the dark features. So you can probably imagine how he looks. But it's not until then that you see. And some reactions were mixed here. It was like, "Oh, is that all he looks like?" Or it was like, "Oh, okay, so it's just a guy," because the helmet brings so much to that image, right? And when he takes it off, you go, "Oh, he's just a guy." But I think that really humanizes him as well. Obviously, you get to see who he is, and it's really cool because it's what you've been waiting for. It's a bit of a reward for the audience. But that's about it. That's the only scene, as I recall, isn't it?
And it's not even that long. Like, he ends up having to put it right back on. It's snatched away from you so quickly,
Yeah.
But there's a reason he can take it off in front of IG-11 because he's not how does he put it?
I'm not an organic being. It is fine.
Yeah.
Some shit like that.
Yeah.
You say it so poetically, and then you're like some shit like that.
Shakespeare, or whatever it is.
My kid for you.
No, it's cool. That's cool. Your retention is really very good.
Yeah.
I can't remember exact words or exact names. That's why I have to have Wikipedia open.
Right.
I can't remember names, but I can remember the emotions and the feelings and the incidents that happened. Yeah.
Exactly.
There's another part I was going to ask you about. I'll run it past in the back of my brain, but yeah, go ahead. I'll come back to it.
Okay. Was there anything I was going to talk about a little bit season 2, but it was
Season 2.
Woohoo!
Just want to get. I think there's going to be a big Star Wars Rebels tie-in because of the fact that if you go to Dave Filoni's Twitter page, the head image is a concept art of an old Captain Rex and an Ahsoka Tano on like some sort of horse-like creature or whatever. And not only that, but the casting roles and pretty much everyone, it's like we like 90% know Ahsoka Tano is gonna some way gonna be in season 2.
well, yeah, they've already cast her because it was Rosario Dawson, I think. Did you know that, Bear?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean about Ahsoka being in. You know who Ahsoka Tano is, right?
I do now. Yeah.
She may seem like a bitch at the beginning of the Clone Wars, but eventually, towards like the end, she's gonna be like, she aight now.
Yeah.
And plus,
Yeah,
Rebel,
okay.
cool in that. Within
I noticed they did that with Anakin in Clone Wars. They made him quite likable. Not that he wasn't that likable. He was let down by the scripts in the prequels, but he's quite different in Clone Wars. I felt Anakin.
Yeah.
because there's that big part of Anakin that remains as Darth Vader. He was a person who actually led his troops on the front lines instead of like being like some others were, and just being like, I'll sit in the back and just tell you guys what to do. He didn't have to lead the 501st as like stormtroopers into battle as the Empire, but he still did. He actually really, all of the stormtroopers still respected the hell out of him for that, and Darth Vader also really fucking hated like officers and like the people that would just tell people what to do. And and then the back, he did not have a problem at all with killing them. But
that's true.
Although after his transformation to Vader, almost anyone that saw him without his helmet on, he just fucking killed. Doesn't matter who it was.
Little fan being having his ugly ass base scene, so
I remember what I was going to say. On a technical level, this show is quite incredible how they've used Unreal Engine with it's like the makers of Fortnite, and they've used big screens that pan in time with the camera. It's like a 3D environment. If you've seen behind the scenes of how the show is made, it's absolutely incredible, and I really encourage anyone to have a look at behind the scenes of The Mandalorian, because when you watch the episode, you think, oh, these are all real locations, and they're actually not. It's actually just projected on this screen. Have you guys seen that part of it as well?
I have. Like the behind the scenes.
yeah,
Behind the scenes, yeah. I love that. It's fantastic, and it brings these worlds to on a low budget. You can do it now. It's incredible. I think they're utilizing it on the Batman as well with Robert Pattinson.
I think one thing that's kind of related is they're bringing a lot of stuff from if you ever remember the Force Unleashed games, they're bringing a lot of stuff into like more, like for example, the incinerator trooper we see at the very end of The Mandalorian. That's one of the enemies in the Force Unleashed, except the only difference is those guys also have like jetpacks in game. I can see why they'd take out. They'd be a bit too crazy having a jetpack stormtrooper that also has a flamethrower.
Yeah.
Thing like if you know the Black series toys, the big, like really highly detailed, like 6-inch ones. They took some of the other troopers in there and made those as Black Series guys. So,
Oh, okay.
like Shadow Troopers, for example.
What do you guys think about the Darksaber?
I think we have to see. Because the first thing we see it with is Bo-Katan. That is the she was a part of Death Watch. These people back here, and then they turned into the Night Owls after Maul took over Mandalore.
Okay.
Lit up the Mandalorians to the people that were following Maul and the people that were like, "No, fuck you, you redheaded ass bitch." And
That's how you really feel.
in Rebels, Sabine, the daughter of Ursa Wren, has it, and then she ends up giving. She doesn't win it by combat. She just like kind of steals it from Maul while he isn't looking. Pretty much, it's not really a fair fight.
Yeah.
Because the way you're supposed to get the Darksaber is by beating them in combat. You know, that's how Darth Maul gets it. He kills the leader of Death Watch after he kind of uses them to gain power and control over Mandalore. And so I'm assuming we're going to have to see Bo-Katan and Moff Gideon, how that happened. Whether whether it was an actual fight, whether he did it some sort of cheeky way or whatever, but we don't even know technically if she's dead or not. She probably is, to be honest, which would be upsetting, but oh well.
So with season 2, do you guys try to imagine what it will be like, or do you just try to step back and let them make it as it is? It's one of those things as a fan, you want certain things to happen, but you're disappointed when they don't. So how do you balance that feeling? Yeah.
Well,
I'm thinking there's at least a few plot lines that they could go after. One is going to be somehow Ahsoka steps into play. I'm feeling
she's
obviously no shit, Sherlock. But what matters is how, like whether they just stumble upon each other, or whether maybe Ahsoka has also been hunting after like Baby Yoda the whole time. Not like to fucking, beat the shit out of the little motherfucker, but to like, like, hey, I'm gonna force myself to be the new
universe to beat up a baby.
But
we've all been there.
It's like hey, I feel like I'd be a lot more with this kid. Let me have them, and then maybe they're just gonna like pair up, And also, I think Rex is probably going to be along with her too. To be honest,
from the concept art we've seen, it looks like they're together. I don't know.
It's kind of obvious. Like at least at the end of Rebels, like although it takes place before episode 4, at the very end of the show, we see a glimpse that goes all the way like past, like almost around the time of the Mandalorian. The last thing we see is Ahsoka and Sabine, the Mandalorian, hunting after the Jedi Ezra Bridger. And do you know who was it? Commander Thrawn was, or Admiral Thrawn, or Grand Admiral Thrawn? You ever heard of him?
No, not sure. No.
Oh, he was pretty much like the absolute genius of the Empire.
Okay.
So like the
yeah.
person that there was, he actually kind of tricked even Emperor Palpatine directly into being like, hey, let me be your person that makes all the decisions. So, everyone kind of liked him. He wasn't a generally bad person, but he was the one person that would outsmart them all. But the last thing we see is the Jedi Ezra and Thrawn going into hyperspace on a fucking Star Destroyer. We don't know what the hell happens after that. But the last thing we know that Sabine and Ahsoka are going to go find them. So we don't know if like they've done that already. We don't know if they just like gave up, they found them. They're just like, all right, we know you're safe. We're just gonna let you vibe for the rest of your life.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So they could tie that into season 2.
Yeah. I mean, they don't mind tying in the shows on like all 3 shows, although, Rebels is over technically.
Mhm.
They still I guess they're just tying all of this stuff together now.
Jeff, my friend Jeff says that he is a big fan of Grand Admiral Thrawn is one of his favorite Star Wars characters.
Yes, he is.
Oh, I'll have to look into that character. There you go. Okay.
He also works closely with people like Admiral Wolf Yularen, if you remember him, who's pretty much the ship commander with Anakin that we see a good few times throughout the Clone Wars. He ends up being like a ISB general or something like that, some sort of like top security agency officer or whatever.
Yep.
So we
Okay.
actually see him in the Death Star too in the movies. So also.
Oh, very cool. Okay. Very cool. Yeah, look, I hope they do tie things in together because it kind of makes sense for the overall story as well.
Yeah.
And I think Jon Favreau said he was writing season 2 during the Lion King production, so that's good news.
How much money they spent on this just the first season alone. It was like
Literally, this is the most expensive season that has ever happened. Like
of any
well, actually,
TV series,
look
right?
it up right now. Yeah.
I think it tied with the last season of Game of Thrones.
Exceeded.
It did, and it was only 8 episodes, right?
Wow. Yeah. 8 episodes.
We'll look it up. Yeah, I think we've gotten
It was $15 million per
episode.
So
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and they're not even hour-long episodes, so.
So it wasn't actually low budget with the technology. Probably the technology really blew it out.
Yeah.
So it's around 120 million for the first season.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine what the
Wow.
second season is going to be like.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
They clearly have the money to pay for it, so I mean, it is fucking Disney. They own everything, so.
They own the world. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they
They
do.
own this and other worlds, I think, as well.
Other dimensions,
Yeah, multiple dimensions. Yeah.
I think I think we've done a pretty good job. It's been over an hour. Is there anything you could think to add? Will you come back for next season, Bear?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if you're happy to have me along, we can discuss a bit more. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
no, look,
you can pick another show so that my kid isn't taking over your episode too.
okay, this is going to be a horrible thing to say on a Star Wars stream, but I've just watched Picard.
I knew you were going to go there. I knew it.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
I just rather be honest and say I've just binge watched Picard.
So have a lot of people. Everybody talks about Picard. So if that's what you want to do,
let's move on.
Okay, and let's move on. Do you have anything to add, honey? No. Yes. I'm good.
No, I'm all right.
Eve, Bear, you have any last words about it?
Any last words? Look, this is a series that I'm actually really excited about. So, and brings a lot of hope for the Star Wars universe. So, as long as they don't do baby Jar Jar and baby sliced noodles and baby, as long as they don't do that, we can move on.
Baby Jar Jar, done.
They never finished the character arc. I feel like they should just to kill him.
Yes.
In the stupidest way possible.
We've had this discussion, in fact.
Not even any sort of memorable kind of death. Not the ones where
That's right.
In the movies, it's a main character.
Yeah.
When it could be the middle of a battle and someone gets shot. And it's not like, oh, he gets shot, let's move on. It's more like, hey, someone else comes to aid them, then he takes 10 seconds to die, and the camera specifically focuses on them. I just want it to be he's in something, he fucking dies, and then it just moves on like he was a character with a fucking name in the movie. Just like he's one of those random ass stormtroopers sitting in that big ass hall that Chewie and Han run into in Episode 4 on the Death Star. I want it to be that insignificant.
Well, I appreciate that. My version is it'll be the exact similar scenario as Episode 1 of the Mandalorian, but they both shoot the baby. The end. That's it.
they're just like, nah. There you go.
No. They actually race to shoot the baby.
Yeah.
That'll be the episode. Yeah.
Who
Who can
kills
get there
the
first?
first?
That's right. Yeah, it'll be like the Amazing Race.
Yes, I think that's perfect.
Jar Jar gets himself into a Mexican standoff with a bounty hunter, except he drops the gun and gets shot in the fucking head.
These are all brilliant ideas. Now, I'm excited to see what this is a good launching pad for future Star Wars shows. So,
Are you talking about killing Jar Jar? Or are we still talking about the Mandalorian?
No, killing Jar Jar.
No, this doesn't need to be. No, you could just throw this in some random ass episode of the Mandalorian. Have it literally, he just walks into like Mos Eisley Cantina, and let's say Jar Jar is just sitting in the fucking back, and he does some dumbass shit he does. Like he tries to, like we see in Episode 1, how I don't know why the fuck I remember this. But they're walking through the market with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, I think maybe Anakin too, and he starts eating up some like animals, like some cooked like food, and whatever. He's like hanging up on some sticks or whatever on a market. I want you to try to take Mando's foods, and he just shoots them in the fucking head, and that's it. And moves on. Like end credits, like immediately after. That's a post-credit scene. No, not even that.
No. They need just a long shot on just his smoking head, basically, so that we know he's dead. Just hold that shot for at least 30 seconds. So when he's not moving, there's a hole in his head. It's smoking.
I was literally gonna say
credits.
the camera goes right through. You can see through it, and then there's the wisps of smoke coming through, and the sky just dropped.
That's it.
It's the camera angle where it's like behind his head, and we see the laser bullet just go through it. And then the camera angle doesn't change. It's just we're just looking at the Mandalorian now, and he's just keeps shooting into the ground for at least 30 seconds. It's just him just repeatedly just.
And then just a random anvil drops on his head. That's it. Just to really drive it home.
Oh my god! Yes.
Bam. The end.
Like it's not enough to just fucking shoot him.
No. The shooting is it's too easy a way out. He has to be crushed, obliterated, obliterated,
and on fire.
Yes,
all of it.
Right, yeah. And then basically, disemboweled.
It's pulled apart. That everything happened because he was a senator that also participated in voting Chief Palpatine into office and fully supported him.
If you ever, okay, you know what? Someday we'll actually. I think we could do a whole episode.
We're not doing a whole 1 hour live stream on ways we could kill Jar Jar.
No. About the Jar Jar is a Sith Lord. Yes. Have you ever heard that?
Yes, I have.
I have something to mention. There's a canon where it's basically for some fucking reason Jar Jar is with the 501st. You got Rex, you got Hardcase, and people like that. Whatever Jedi they were with ends up fucking dying, and drop the lightsaber, and Jar Jar of course picks it up and is like a complete retard with it. Jar Jar overhears Rex and like some other clones just like making fun of him, like God, like they're pretty much like God, that guy's a fucking idiot, and Jar Jar's in the bushes like hearing him like, Jar Jar noises. I don't know.
Yeah.
Pretty much while none of them are looking, Jar Jar just takes the lightsaber and just goes batshit on the bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then Captain Rex walks in and he's like, what? He just sees it happening, and then Jar Jar goes back to like retard mode and just drops it and is like, ooh, Misa don't know what he's doing. So I think that really opens up some new possibilities too. What if Jar Jar is faking being an autistic little shit this entire time? Who knows what he really can do?
That's what Jar Jar can do.
That's right.
But to what level?
Well, look, we've seen Jar Jar acting as a general, and we saw how that turned out. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's fucking stupid that there was a.
Wait, hold on. Lizzie said Darth Jar Jar. So, yeah.
Some episodes in whatever one of the first like few seasons, the pirate one, where it's Jar Jar, Commander Stone, and some Coruscant Guard members.
You're speaking of Clone Wars now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a totally different show, but it's okay.
Still, we're talking about the fucking dumbass Jar Jar.
I know,
right?
I know. I'm just keeping our audience on a straight.
It's still Star Wars.
Yes, I got that.
Okay, no, fine. I'll
No,
shut the fuck up then.
I don't want you
You told
to
me
make
to
sure
shut
that.
the fuck up.
No, I didn't. Did I?
I mentioned earlier when we were talking about some other shit for like 10 minutes straight. I'm like, hey, are we supposed to be talking about the Mandalorian here? And you're like, no, it's fine.
I'm not complaining.
Obviously, you are.
No, all I wanted to do was to make sure they knew what show you were talking.
Just putting it in context. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. Can you finish? Please finish.
All right. It was the episodes where Dooku, Anakin, and Obi-Wan all get captured by Hondo.
Mm-hmm.
And Jar Jar and the Senator and the Clone Commander and other Coruscant Guard members are sent after to like pay their dues or whatever. And then the Senator fucking dies. The other one, not Jar Jar, unfortunately.
Right?
Why is the Clone Commander not put in charge? Why is the fucking Senator that has no battle experience in these? Well, Naboo doesn't count, but that was an accident, entirely. But
that's because Jar Jar does this thing I like to call failing upwards. That's literally all he does, and he kills suffers around him, and he just.
He's like a corporate middleman. He just gets promoted,
right?
Because he exists.
Exactly, and stupidly too. Oh.
Yeah. And then, you can represent me in the Senate. What? What?
Stupidest. Oh, the fact that he, that he does that. Padme is like, yes. I wonder who should take my place as senator.
Let me give this some serious thought.
I think she just knew literally nobody else.
Is there such thing as like space math? Because I think Padme might have death sticks. I think Padme was on some space math because that's the whole explanation for giving it to Jar Jar. I'm telling you.
Yeah, her life was falling apart, so she was at her lowest ebb.
Right? Anyway, okay. Sorry. But I think we wrapped it up pretty well. We'll definitely come back and we will do it. Bear has domain over this, so he gets always do Mandalorian. So if we're doing this again, hopefully this time, after the second season is done.
You're welcome. Yeah, if you're happy to have me on, I'll be happy to come on. Thanks. Yeah, and it's been good chatting to you guys. Yeah,
Mr. Bear, so much so. and thank you, honey.
I had too many last words, so.
No, I'm thanking you.
I know that.
Can I have a hug?
Okay. No,
you can.
No, it was good meeting you, Angel, and good talking to you. And I'll really liked your insights into the whole aspect of Star Wars. It's very interesting.
We've had some late night talks. He could talk for hours, though. He really could.
No, that's okay. It's good.
Yeah, he's a smart kid. When he too much about Star Wars, yes. But yeah, so thank you, Bear. Thank you, Angel, and thank you to everybody in the chat for coming. Stuck around for a while. We could talk about this family could talk about Star Wars forever. We really could. So, but thanks to everyone so much. I don't know if I have an outro or not, but we will next week. Next week we are finishing up our Sopranos with Sal and his sister Rome. So, and if you didn't catch so you might want to go back and watch last week. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, thank you everyone for coming, and thank you, Bear. And we will see you next time, I guess.
Peace, buckos.
I know.